anything but pants for her after she went into the water.
Oh, you
So
brought.
it's like,
you were the pack mule.
Yeah, she gave me so much crap for having so much crap in my bag.
And you're like, well, so I'm carrying everything.
Yeah, it's like it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, you are gonna jump in there and get after my phone.
Yeah. I crammed it. I even had a blanket in my pack. An old army blanket.
So you were sandbagging it. You were just letting the blanket fill in the empty spaces.
No, I had a lot of stuff in there.
Okay, sure, bub.
I had like 2 complete different outfits in there, just in case.
Dude, I tell you what.
Rain jacket, food.
Oh yeah, of course we're gonna pack the food around.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. Our family, so we have 72-hour like emergency kits, and you look at like my kids, and granted my kids are 2 and 4, so most likely we're just gonna like carabine or like zip toe like those onto like mine or my wife's, but like there's my wife's, which looks like a 1-day assault pack, and then there's mine that's like an off spree 3-4 day like, hey, I'm off in the woods getting it, and you like weigh the two and you're like, what do you carry? I was like, well, honestly, I've just got the clothes on my back. Maybe I've got an extra chain. I've got like 7, like socks are essential.
Oh, yes.
Like, so I've got 7 socks.
I get yelled at for how many socks and underwear I pack. No, you can never have too many socks and underwear.
And I have and they're like nice wool socks, like outdoorsy, like the poor man's freaking Under Armour right there. But yeah, I've got like 7 socks, no change of clothes, literally just like water filtering, fire starting, like survival stuff, like rain ponchos. I'm trying to find a little tent or like a like I have a tarp, like a mini tarp and some bungee cords and 550 cord. And she was like, why do you have so much stuff in there? I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe because the only things you're carrying are like change of clothes, some food, and water filtration. And I've got everything else, including like a freaking almost a Coleman stove in there. Like, wonder who. She's like, well, you're bigger. I was like, well, then don't complain about your pack. So anyway, well, it's just like, when I had to go back to the School of Infantry to get a new MOS, and I'm being all around these boots, they literally caught somebody, and this is common, but they caught somebody freaking sandbagging the 10 or 15 mile hike with like a pillow and blanket in his pack. Yeah, right, mother effer. You know what the packing list is, and even for your day and age, your freaking generation is hiking lighter than mine ever did going through the combat training I did. Like, I had to freaking hike with the flak on my pack. You don't even have to put sappies in yours when you put the flak in your pack. Like, oh my gosh. Weak. So, we're going to let that be the intro to episode 5, or 5, for those of you that are not culture appropriated, of Veterans and Barbells. We're going to share, as best we can, without being super awkward about it, some funny.
It's going to get awkward.
It's going to be awkward. Some funny stories. Some of these may not make sense to you. We kind of had a comment before. It's like we realized that like a lot of funny stories. Like my younger brother always had this problem. Like he would think this story was so funny, and then he'd come to tell us, and he's like, you can tell he's getting towards the end, and you're still sitting there like,
where's the punchline?
Like, where's the punchline? And he realized like he just sucked at retelling a funny story, and so he'd always be like, and then I found $20. It was a great day. And we're like, well, why didn't you buy us lunch? Like, so we realized that some of these stories may be more situationally dependent, but just try to, we're probably going to do our best to like put you in the moment and really share some moments of like what we thought were pretty funny. And luckily Kevin gave me like a week's heads up about what he thought, we should talk about. I'm all about it. And if you're watching the YouTube, we've got the fan going again. And we've got the door open because I just trained with a client, and so I definitely smell like a bag of balls. And then Kevin just came in to do a chest pump, so he's still smelling fresh as a rose.
Yeah.
And I just knocked back the rest of my Axe and Sledge farm-fed protein. Oh my goodness, that cookies and cream that helps me hit my sweet tooth craving for the day. Like, I don't have any issues.
I am a huge fan of the cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream is mad solid.
I've had all of them, and that's definitely my favorite.
Cinnamon apple pie is still mine, for sure. And actually,
it's really good. It's just a little too much of a cinnamony kick for me.
And see, that's what I warn people: is it does come on at first strong with the cinnamon, but that apple flavor just kind of like slides in at the end.
And you get used to it, but I don't know. That cookies and cream is just on point.
Oh,
for me.
It's so solid. And I've had the chocolate and the vanilla. Or I've had all of them. Chocolate is solid, and vanilla I pretty much use to like bake into stuff like pancakes, waffles.
For a vanilla, it's a very, very like good, simple, smooth, not overpowering vanilla.
for sure. And again, super lean. You can use my code MBlake10 on checkout. Grab yourself some goods. And so when I ordered it last week, ordered it on Monday, literally their shipping department was on it. Literally got the notification of, hey, your order's confirmed. Literally an hour later, hey, your order's shipped. So I put it in right at the right time for like whenever pickup happened, and then it was at my doorstep Wednesday morning.
Does your code works for AAR also, right?
No, so codes with the demo crew only work for American Made Nutrition and for Axe and Sledge.
Okay.
All American Roughneck is its own
piece of the business.
It's its own separate piece of the business that's just apparel. And I'm pretty sure if I remember right, the reason they don't run as many discount codes for ambassadors through that is because they're always running specials. They're always running release deals, or I think they also have that T-shirt deal, the 5 for $100 or something.
They do that only once a year though.
Yeah, they do that once a year, but still, that's like you're grabbing 5 super high quality shirts for only you're essentially buying 4 shirts
and getting
at discount and then getting 1 free. I mean, that's essentially how that works out.
I brought that up because they're having a new release, their fall release Thursday.
There's a hoodie and a shirt I saw. I'm not going to get them, but there's a shirt.
I think I'm going to get the shirt.
Is it the one with the woods?
Yes, it looks like my tattoo.
Yes,
yes, I want that.
So sick. Anyway, we just fanboyed out
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Again, a solid company. There's a lot of good out there. We've both tried a lot. Last podcast pretty much kind of showed that a bit. But yeah, so we'll roll into this. So funny military stories. Man, I'm trying. So if you've got one off the top of your head, you're go. I'm trying. Like this whole week, I was trying to chronological, like through boot camp to now.
See, I was thinking about doing that, but I think I'm just gonna kind of shoot from the hip. And
go for it. Yeah, no, that's just how my brain works.
One of the first ones I definitely want to talk about it because I think it really was hilarious. We had barracks inspection, first sergeant going through. And
after basic unit, so at a unit.
Oh yeah, this was at Fort Drum.
Let me just tell you, I don't know about you, but in boot camp inspections were a little different than the fleet. A little more hazing involved. Not hazing.
No matter how good your shit was, it was getting destroyed. Yeah.
All day.
But I guess so. At this time, my whole unit was on the first floor, and those of you listening who were with me. All you guys on the first floor during this inspection, I feel sorry for you guys. But we only had 3 of the whole entire company that was up on the second floor. And so we were the last ones to go, and we were waiting forever, but they came up, and my room was squared away. I ain't gonna lie, my room was squared away.
Sure.
And I was actually by myself because my roommate got thrown in jail for being a dumbass. So I got the room to myself.
Yeah.
So I had a futon dead center in the room, and all the rest of the furniture they gave us is all kind of spread around the edges.
You had a futon.
Yeah. So it was like
so privileged.
Yeah. It was I bought the futon.
Army.
But it was almost like a nice living room basically. But anyway,
much dorm.
Huh? Oh, kinda. So you walk in the room, and to your right is a little kitchen area. To the left is a wall until you get so far, and then it kicks over, and that's where the bathroom was. Well, on the back of my bathroom door, which my door was open so you could see that side, was I want to say it was from like 06-ish Rolling Stones magazine cover with Christina Aguilera butt ass naked with the guitar covering her bits. So I had that poster, big old poster.
Wait, that was out in the open?
Oh yeah.
You dummy.
Oh no.
Freaking Army.
So first sergeant comes in and inspect. He steps in the room, Eddie! You know, do the whole bit. He takes about 3 steps in before he gets to the futon. He looks right towards the kitchen, turns left towards the bathroom where you can see that poster, starts to turn back towards the kitchen, makes about 3/4 of the way, and then that head snaps back. Stares at that poster for a good 15-20 seconds, and he just goes, "All right," does an about face, walks out. Didn't even check the rest of the room.
Oh man! All right, so I'll meet you there with the first sergeant inspection. All right, so I was in engineer school, so going through my MOS school, I was class leader. Blah da 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 da. They were doing inspections, and at first we were told it was just the lead instructors that were doing it, and we knew all of them. Our class had no issues. Like we were the only one to come through in a long time that had no NJPs, no adverse like reports. Like we were like squared away. So the instructor's pretty much like, okay, you know, if we find something, we'll just kind of give you like a slap on the wrist kind of thing. Well, they're coming through inspecting. Our room was squared away. You know, the standard setup for like a barracks room. We had just metal bunks and then just wall lockers. Well, my wall locker, I mean, everything was squared away as per like the order. But then like the bottom of my wall locker was like, it was pretty much like a mini supplement store. Because like that was the one chance I got after all my training to like frickin' just lift in my off time. So this big frickin' gunny comes through this, you know, and just like throws it open. And he and I had talked lifting, so like he was expecting something. He's like looked at this and he's like, hey, is the only way you're blowing up freaking selling cocaine out of this wall locker? I'm like, no, Gunny. not this year. He was like, good answer. Well, also on my wall locker, on one of them, and this was, a wall locker is pretty much like the only real private space you can kind of have in a barracks room, at least at an MOS school.
If it's locked.
If it's locked. And it was, trust me. You learn real quick in boot camp. You lock your stuff. But anyway, I had just come back from like a 72 or a 90, no, yeah, it was a 72-hour libo. So I'd gone home real quick to meet up with my fiance, hang out, and take wedding invitation photos. And I had like contacted somebody, and I was like, hey, what's the order of like if we wanted to do some in uniform and then some in civvies? And they're like, well, of course you can't travel in public, you know, in uniform. Just show up, change over, do your business there, and then change over back. And I was like, cool. So part of my wedding invitation was some of were me in my my marpat, you know, my uniform, my fatigues, and then some were just in civvies. Well, all of a sudden the first sergeant comes through, and nobody liked her. Because, one, she wasn't in the combat arms at all. She was some, like, freaking supply pogue that somehow had been put over the administration side of the engineer and utility corps. She already didn't like me because I was in the running for, like, a meritorious promotion against, like, some other class leader on the other side. I was performing better than that class leader over there, so she did not like me because I was a female and I was a male, and she just wanted to boost her. I didn't get the promotion, by the way. Long story short. But she comes through and inspects my room. All our wall lockers are open. She doesn't say anything about the sups. Well, as she's turning, same thing as your instance, you know, pans the room, sees my photo, starts to walk out, past it, literally dead stops, backs about faces, looks at my wall locker, and you're thinking like, it's literally a small card. And then turns and rips me a new one for like 3 minutes about how I think I'm special, who do I think I am about like taking pictures in uniform, and oh yeah, don't you think I would like to, you know, post pics about me and my fatigue? Like I'm just sitting there like at ease, you know, just taking it dead face, and I'm just thinking like I cleared this on all levels. Like I went as high as I could to like figure out what the code was. Well, all of a sudden like she leaves and she's like, I don't want to see this ever again. And in my head you're like, you're never gonna come in this room again, and I know it. So I'm not doing a thing. Well, all of a sudden, one of the instructors comes in. He's like, what the freak was that all about? You were good, dude. I was like, oh, she made a stink about this. The freaking staff sergeant. And he looked at it and he's like, I'm not going to say it in any podcast. But he was like, man, nobody gives a crap about that. She's a freaking... Anyway. And it begins with a C, ends with a T. Well, what's funny, the next room she goes into, there's this little pipsqueak going through. The room was clean. He had a freaking pocket pussy on the back of the toilet. Not hidden. Not put away. Not anything. On the back of the toilet. And all of a sudden, you hear, what the is this? And just like if anyone in the quarterdeck or just, you know, the quad thought that whatever they echoed from my room was bad, that was a whole nother level if I remember right. And God, this kid, just a mousy looking little dude. And everyone's just like, even the instructors are like, I don't know, how they missed it. You know, because actually, I think it was actually even worse. It wasn't even on the back. It was underneath, behind the toilet. Like, how gross is that? Like, what?
Why would you hide his hair?
Exactly. Like, well, I don't even think he was hiding. I think that's just where he kept it. And just don't even ask me why, because this kid was just a topper. He was Tommy Topper. But, yeah, it was just like, what? Are you kidding me right now?
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, funny but like awkward at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's my one to kind of go with your first sergeant inspection. So yeah, dude, just why? Why?
Oh man, that kind of made me lose my train of thought.
I've got one immediately ready.
No, I do got it. So
Okay.
This is a little small, kind of funny thing that my buddy who I was on the phone with on the way here reminded me of, and so I just wanted to say it for him. But we I think we were like out all freaking weekend having fun and stuff, and we get back and realize none of our laundry's done.
Oh,
and it's like Sunday night, like late Sunday.
Oh no.
So we went and put our stuff in the laundry room, got going. We leave, we come back to check our stuff, and door was locked. The door had a tendency of locking itself for no reason.
Was there not a duty on post?
No one. So CQ didn't have a key, and we tried calling the person, and no one was answering.
Okay.
So I'm like, I am not getting in trouble. Because, I mean, literally, all my PTs, all my uniforms, everything is in this washing machine.
Running your chonies.
And I'm like, I am not getting in trouble for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my buddy started commencing kicking the handle of that door until we busted the damn thing off. And busted that door down, basically, to get our shit out of there. And the next morning...
So for anyone wondering, in this era, if there was a NJP or something prepared, you're kind of looking at the culprit here. So you can send him the fine right now.
We totally had a formation. I think it might have been that next day or the day after. And I can't remember if it was the platoon sergeant or the first sergeant just like yelling at the entire company, just getting on to us for some laughing idiot, blah 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 blah. And
some dumb
me and my
bitch.
buddy are doing my best to just keep a straight face, not laugh. And then that also I want to roll into something else real fast on
Okay,
that.
cool.
This is what actually I lost my train of thought on. So, hearing how that first sergeant was like someone you guys just did not like.
Oh gosh, she was
or probably
horrible.
even respect.
No,
I'm not going to use any
light.
names on this,
Yeah.
but if you're in my unit, let's just say there's a specific staff sergeant that nobody really cared for too much, who's really didn't think his shit didn't stink. And let's just say, this might tie it down even more for you, but let's just say this particular staff sergeant drove a Jeep Cherokee. Pretty nice one at the time. And while they were out and doing training, and those of us that were left back on at Fort Drum, I think they went to like Mississippi or something for training. Those of us left back on Fort Drum knows that while he was gone, somehow, not once, but twice, he had his vehicle just had magically got flat tires.
You can't park on nails, guys. You have to realize you
Well,
have
he
to
kept getting
inspect.
the tire checked.
Yeah.
One of the other sergeants that stayed back took it in the first time to get the tire checked, and there was no holes. Well, somebody might have put a pebble in the valve stem cap to let the air out.
Man, I thought you guys were going to say you like saran wrapped it or filled it with like.
No, I just kept letting the
packaging
air out of
nuts.
the tires.
Yeah, dude, that's savage. That's pretty cool. That's funny.
Because they couldn't figure out why I was doing it, because nobody thought to look in the valve cap. And actually, the first time, one of the other sergeants, the one who I think ended up taking it to the place to get the tire checked, I saw him looking at it, so I walk over to see if I can help. And when he goes to pop the valve stem or takes the valve stem cap off, I saw the little pebble roll out, and he never saw it. So that's a nice little kept secret that I don't think me and my buddies really told too many of the other people. But you know what? I think statutes of limitations pass, and so we're good.
You're out of your IRR time, right? Yeah, you're solid. Oh, the pranks on staff NCOs. I've actually been lucky. I've had pretty good staff NCOs. I would think the first one I had when I got to my unit, Staff Sergeant Keebler or Kebler. I could never figure out how this dude, I always wanted to say Keebler, like Keebler cookies. Or I think it was Kebler though. But he meant well, But he was kind of like bleeding into like the standard like staff NCO. Like he'd kind of like show up and be present, but then he'd pretty much be like, "Oh yeah, wish I could be in the field with you guys again. Just really miss blowing stuff up." Yeah, smoke. I just where'd it go? You know, frag out. But this dude, I don't know what his deal was. Maybe he was just hung like a horse. But every time he was like talking to us or giving a brief, this dude was like constantly like adjusting his nuts, and I'm like sitting there like, and I'm so ADD that I just like every time he does it, like I just look and I'm like, what's your problem, dude? Like it's like I've got powder. Like everyone here has baby powder. Like I've got a product called Fresh Balls, which if you're looking for like something dialed up more than baby powder, Fresh Balls is great.
I've heard it's pretty good.
It's a lotion that dries as a powder, and it's cooling at the same time. So fantastic for the field. But yeah, I was just like, dude, what's your deal? Like all the time. But again, he was one of those that was like, he would come in, make sure we knew everything we were doing wrong, and nothing we were doing right, and then he would just disappear. And I'm like, well, you know, it's not like I just trained my butt off for 10 hours to try to make this mission work, and now he just told me it sucks a donkey ball. So I was like, all right, so I'll just continue on with my day. Thank you. Let's see, story. Oh yeah, I've got some boot camp war stories. Yeah, God. Boot camp war stories. Here we go. Because that's about all I've got on my resume. No, I'm kidding. My two favorites were, we were farther along. There for a while, the chow hall was closed, which was fine with me. I didn't care for it anyway, but we were getting like boxed chow, or like paper bag chow or whatever. And pretty much like they just set you on a timer. Like if you weren't done eating in like 10-15 minutes, like you were done. Like most of us were done within like 5.
So you got 15 minutes?
No, I mean I can't remember. Well, they never like told us. They're like, eat, and then they kept track of time. So it was like, you know, some days felt longer than others. I bet in my head I'm like, well, it was like 15 minutes. It was probably really like 8, if that. But pretty much we were given the order to get up, wagon wheel down past the trash can or the plat or whatever, and place it in. And he's like, not one of you better take another bite. And again, I don't know how our senior saw this, but like one of our little dudes, and he was a good guy. One of the other recruits, he like was passing a pylon, like one of our cement pillars in the barracks bay. So he was completely like blocked out from our senior drill instructor. And I barely saw him out of the corner of my eye, like pop a cookie, like one last cookie or whatever was in there. I don't know, maybe it was a hard-boiled egg. And all of a sudden, I see freaking our senior just hauling ass down the center highway, and almost like a wide receiver, he passes this pillar and just like sticks it right. And all of a sudden, he just blows this kid up into a rack, completely like pushes him over, pushes the rack back like 5 feet, and he's just like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. What the fuck did I tell you to do? And I'm like, oh my gosh! like I was just like, again, like, I was like, how did he see it? That was impossible. He's like, I see everything. And I was like, he just read my mind. I was like, I'm not safe here.
There was an AIT, we had Steph Sartain. Awesome dude. Mm-hmm. But you didn't want to screw with him. But he was an awesome guy. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed him. And I remember one time we came back from school, and we're in formation outside, and I for the life of me I can't remember my other sergeant in AIT, his name. But anyways, don't matter. We're outside, and we were like, oh, we forgot to do barracks inspections. So they put us in position of attention while they go up, and they're opening the windows, because I think we were on the 3rd floor, if I remember right. So they're opening windows, sticking their heads out. I'm like, they're yelling whose names in each room, because we were an old like World War II building barracks. Yeah. And so they'd stick out, and they only checked that side of the building too. So I was good because I was on the other side. Mm-hmm. But they stick out, and start yelling out names of who was in that room, and made them get down, frontline rest, and they'd have to sit there and hold it while they went through the room. And the next thing you know, here comes a pillow. Yeah. Here comes a backpack. Just shit flying out of the window. And then here comes Sergeant. Someone left their freaking wall locker unlocked. Next thing you know, here comes everything from that wall locker out. I mean, everything.
Dude, secure your stuff, man.
I remember seeing one time, my company, I don't think anyone in my company had to do it, but I want to say maybe it was Alpha Company. And Chris or McNichols, if you guys are listening to this, you might remember this. But I remember seeing someone got so much trouble, the whole room. They had to take all of their stuff, beds, wall locker, all their equipment, downstairs, outside, set it up perfect like it was their room upstairs, pass inspection, then take it all back down, take it all back up to the room, put it all back together for another inspection. I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't have to do that shit.
Yeah, dude. That's a lot of, like, I saw another class have to do it, like at MOS school, in Marine boot camp. There's a lot of games of 2 sheets and a blanket, and that's just, the drill instructors have some extra time on their hands, and we're going to play 2 sheets and a blanket, and if they find a foot locker unsecured, I still to this day remember that lock combo, because you were double, triple checking that thing to make sure it was secured.
I could never remember my locker combo.
So
no, it was always locked.
Yeah.
But those spinny combos, all you gotta do is grab them and yank them really, really hard, and they pop right open.
This is where I'm leading to with that.
And they would do that shit.
So, not only, we had a set of locks that were all the same, because you needed one for the foot locker, you needed one to secure your rifle at the end of your bunk, or your rack.
Oh, we had to sleep with ours.
Well, we had some ammo issues in previous classes, so, whatever. So we just secured it at the end of the rack. And then there was a lock for something, maybe a spare one. But our kill hat, or the most junior drill instructor, Steph Sergeant Rubicato. If you ever listen to this, man, you were literally my favorite drill instructor by the end. You and Staff Sergeant Santa Cruz were definitely made the biggest impact on me. So thank you for everything. But Staff Sergeant Rubicato, man, he was just the pit bull of the drill instructors for us, man. He was always busting his ass and running everywhere. But our senior drill instructor, after a while, had to tell him to stop inspecting rifles at the end at night, because what they're supposed to do, of course, is come by and just yank them and go to make sure that the cable lock is secured. This dude was literally just grabbing them, and he was a ham of a man, like short in stature but just stocky and thick. He would grab that thing full hand, yank hard, and literally, like, I think in one night he must have busted like 7 locks off rifles, and every time he did it, he was like, "Shit! Hey, recruit, fix it!" And the recruit's like, "I don't even have any more locks. Like, you busted it last night. Like, we don't get a PX.
You broke all my stuff."
Yeah, like, I don't have a PX run until Friday." Or like it was like every other week or something. I can't remember. But yeah, so he got a little in trouble for that. And there was another one, like, I think he was usually there on our Sundays too. And we usually had a little better of a break on Sundays, but not by much, just enough for service times. And then hell was back on the schedule. But there was one time where he was feeling his Cheerios for sure. But we came back, and he just started smoking us. And he was like, "You guys got your faith this morning. Guess what? You're in my house now. This is hell, and I'm the devil." And it just, let's just say those next 4 hours, he's like, "You will scream for the devil," like this and that and another. And I'm just letting you know, Staff Sergeant, I think you're, pardon me if your rank is higher now. I haven't tracked on it, but because I think he's still in. I think he's a gunny now, but. We for drill instructors, you if you're an artist recruit, you make them like a hat plaque for their smoky cover, their drill instructor cover. Me and the other artist recruit were like, these were some of the best like hat plaques that these guys had ever gotten. And the one we did for you, Staff Sergeant Rubicato, it was fire. It was really awesome, and I got to actually do it. My buddy did one side and I did the other, and so my side was a white background. And what I did was like this samurai looking dude with like a freaking, like, he's like slamming a foot locker with one hand, and he's got like this like endless like keychain of freaking locks on the other. And it was like super awesome. And the back was like some freaking big gorilla just like smashing buildings, But I think the other boot camp, no, I don't really have any others other than like. Again, if any of you out there been through Marine boot camp, you know the whole like, bleach floor towel races, crawling on your belly on that stuff underneath, doing like low crawl races underneath the racks. The whole like games in the showers, the wagon. I will say, this is kind of funny, kind of disgusting. The one point I got to in boot camp where I was like, mentally I was like, I'm not doing this, is one of our drill instructors had us. It was the end of the day. We're just pretty much changing over. Like, PT stuff was super soaked, and so it's pretty much like left boot off the body, right boot off the body, and trousers off the. It's just the games you play to like undress, redress, undress, redress.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we finally got to the part where we were like about to get like towels on to go to the shower room, and it was like PT shirt off the body, and all of a sudden then he said wagon wheel, and I was like, this was new, and in my head I was like, what the F is about to happen right now? Because wagon wheel, you pretty much, right face, push, and you just like go around a bit. It was almost like musical chairs, and then he just stops you. He just stopped us wherever, and in my head I was like, I really hope we wagon wheel back to my shirt. All of a sudden he stops me in front of somebody else's wall locker, or like stuff, and everybody is somewhere else, and he was like, skivvy shirt on the body, and then in my head I was like, F no. Like, I was straight up like, I'm not making this count. It was the only thing like, I'm not putting that on my body. No. And so like, I just took my time. I picked it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to put it on. And then of course I was like, it was like a 10-second. It was like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I was like, yep, I'm not doing this. Just give a shirt off the body. I'm like, heck yeah, it's going back down on this wall locker. Like, I'm not doing this. So luckily, then we returned to our stuff and got towels on and went. And I was like, oh, buddy, that was really close. I don't know what I would catch from whoever that was. But,
yeah, we had,
no.
I want to say that it was like July or August, too. So in South Carolina, it's nasty, humid, hot, right?
Well, that's when I went to boot camp, too.
And...
Yeah. June to August, yeah.
They put us in, and I think it was only 2 platoons, but they put us in this one, like, large conference room thing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these were also the exact same type of barracks. Not same one, but the exact same type, like World War II style. And so, we're in there, and they are smoking the shit out of us inside. Mm-hmm. And it's hot, and there's no AC, and the windows were closed. And they closed the door.
Nice. Hot box.
Oh, dude, it was so hot box.
Did they
the paint on the wall was running. Mm-hmm. There was a cloud. There was fog up above, and there was legit like almost an inch of just straight body fluid on the ground.
Huh.
And they waited till then for us to do sit-ups. And I'm just like, I'm not fucking getting down on that. There's no way I'm not doing this.
You're probably doing push-ups.
In my head. Yeah. But of course, I got down and did it. But it's just like that was the nastiest thing in basic that happened. Yeah. But dang it, what was that other thing I was wanting to say? Oh, okay. This is more like, hey, my 514th buddies. Little information for you that only a couple people know, but now a lot more of you are going to get to know. Let's just say, if you were there during my time, I had 2 different commanders. One we kind of liked, and one we really did not care much for. And during that time, I was in the process of being med boarded out.
Okay.
So I got moved from the motor pool to being working in S1 with the company.
Yeah, admin stuff.
Clerk man and shit. And I also became, I had to help with mail delivery. So every other weekend I had to do the mail. And so every other weekend I was the only one in the office. And I don't know what came over me one weekend, but I guess he urged me the wrong way all damn week.
Yeah.
So I went into his office there, turned the lights on.
Oh, not secured either, huh?
Oh no, definitely not. The door wasn't even closed.
Oh my god.
I go in his office, turn the light on.
Some discipline.
He had a tree in there, or a little bush or something. I went over and dropped trowel in front of it, just took me a nice whiz right into that tree.
Funny story.
And then the same day, I was walking out, and we had this big old display case.
Yeah.
And if anybody is ever wondering what happened to that Dallas Cowboys autographed football that was in the display case, I might have acquired it and then handed it off to somebody else that really wanted it. And nobody noticed, though. No one ever noticed.
Oh
As
my
far
God.
as I know, I never heard anything that.
Man, if you don't secure stuff, like, it's just gonna go missing.
Yeah, it wasn't even. I don't even think. I can't remember if it was actually in the display case or not. If it was just up on top.
Yeah.
I mean, it was autographed by like a lot of Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
I just
Someone's got some money sitting there.
just took one, and here we go.
There we
Walked
go.
right out.
Jeez.
So go ahead with yours,
Man, what
because
was
I
it?
got one more after all that, but I want you to
Yeah,
go ahead.
I don't know, man. And again, a lot of these are just situational. Like, I think back and, like, being there in the moment was just, it's like, die hard. Like, what the heck is going on right now? The two I can think of is definitely with my first unit. I've had some good times with this. Actually, I'll do a real quick one that was super recent, and then I'll back up to my Bravo Company boys. So, just this year, out in Fort Knox with my boys from Cat 1, it was kind of a rough AT, 2 weeks of field training, because it was very thrown together with everything going on this year. It was like literally last minute, like the 2 days before that they even told me I was going, because I was slotted for something else. We just got to a point with training where we were so high tempoed, and we were just pushing so hard, and we were doing great. We were performing like really stellar. But there was just a day there where I could just tell the guys were like burnt out. And just the universe lining up the way it did that day. We had a little extra wind. Well, all of a sudden, one of the tents that we had set, I don't know how we got tents, because normally we don't. It's just, sleeping pad, poncho liner, figure it out. But one of the tents fell over due to wind, and I looked at one of my boots, and I was like, Beacon, get the fuck over there and give a 9-line render aid. And then so he ran over there, and all of a sudden, like, why is he doing it alone? Where's the security? Like, and all of a sudden, all my other freaking juniors start running over there. They're posting up. I was like, well, someone get on the freaking SeaTac or whatever.
But they're all like,
yeah, so, like, oh my, we've got a video somewhere on our Facebook page, but Beacon, man, like, and he's usually a quiet kid. He's funny. He needs to open up more. But, like, he just, like, flipped the switch, went over there, just started, like, straight up 9-line. We had been grilling it into their heads for just, the medevac phases. And then so he's talking to this dude. He's acting like he's talking to somebody on the net. And the whole time he's like, you're not going to die. You're okay. Like yelling at this tent. This tent. Again, remember, it's a tent that fell over. And so he's like, you're going to be okay. And then he like rips the flap of the tent open and he sticks his head in. He's like, I know you're going to live. And then he's like, comes out again. He's like, you're going to see your kids. I swear. It's like, I'm like, me and my staff sergeant are like, luckily he just decided to like flip his phone open right as I just kind of like initiated it. And so he got everything. And I'm dying. Like, I'm out of frame at this point. I'm dying in laughter. It's taking everything from my staff sergeant not to, like, drop the phone. Like, we're literally, like, crying in tears. And they did everything. They just, like, we pretty much threw them into a chaotic situation. They performed. The 9-line was okay. And, like, I mean, all the wickets were hit pretty much for the bird to come in, for it to be cleared. And we just, like, instantly boosted morale. Like, instant, like, from then on, up until, like, the last 4 or 5 days, like, we were so golden. It was one of those, like, super funny moments that it needed to happen. And it seemed stupid and funny, but it instantly just put everybody in a better mood. Now flashing back to my first unit, my boot year, we were slotted to go to, I think it was 29 Palms, so it was like kind of like our rotation. It would have been like the year after that. After that's kind of like you're checking the box to be like, if you're in rotation, like you're like full send go, if you get called up. So we're there. I'm a boot. I've got an awesome team leader. We're a group of engineers. We attach to, I think India or Lima Company. Not that anyone will really know who that is, but we're out there one night just playing cards. And some chaos, and we're back in Camp Wilson after a range, and we hear some chaos like in the barracks, like these big old like sea huts or whatever, and some dude comes running out and just quickly just like jumps into the game, and we're like, "You good, dude?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's all right." Next hand, this one dude comes running out, butt naked, and just slaps his Johnson across this dude's face. And I'm like literally in shock. Like, I'm just this boot PFC, like, what just happened? And then I look at my team leader, and this is a dude that, he's had 2-3 tours. And he's, like, also just looking at it like, he's been in almost, like, 7 years. And he was, like, just looked at it, also just as flabbergasted as I was, like, what did I just see? Like, did I really just see, like, a big old dong, like, slap across somebody else's face right now? And the dude that got slapped was straight up like, he took it, and he was like, yeah, I deserve that. And I was like, heck no, boy! Like,
it's like, what did you do to
like,
deserve
what did you,
that?
like, one, no. That's like, instantly, like, you're dying. Like, I'm gonna put your face to the ground. Like, oh, man. He was like, no, I did something pretty bad earlier. I was like, so that, only, he's like, yeah, that was me. I was like, still, dude, no way. No way is that even, like, a green light to do. Sorry, bub.
Man.
Oh, man, my first unit also had, like... Did you guys ever have a guy that was just kind of, like, hung? And you, like, had, like, when you met another unit, you had to, like, compare him. Like, what's the dude with the biggest swinging dude?
Not that I can
No?
recall it in the service.
This is just like an infantry combat arms thing, though.
I had a buddy in high school that everyone knew was just hung.
Yeah.
He made the horses look bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Horses turned away in shame.
I don't really recall anyone from my unit now.
We're definitely labeling this podcast as explicit content and not for kids.
Yeah.
The other ones have been fine, but this one I'm thinking, like, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to press that button. Like, yep, this is explicit. This is not for kids. You're going to need parent approval. Or you're just going to have to lie to YouTube that you're 18 and older. So, we had a guy... Bravo Company, you guys know, freaking Gonzo, or Gonzalez. He was just God's gift to women. Tell you what, man. But everywhere we went, when we attached to somebody, I don't know how this comes up within the infantry all the time, but they're always like, "Hey, who's the biggest dude here?" And at first we thought we're like, "Oh, strongest," and so they're like, "Oh, DB or Blake," and DB, like, again, he was great role model for me, super hard on me, but for the right reasons sometimes. But so we're like, so then eventually we figured out what they meant, and they just want to have a comparison battle. I'm average. It's whatever. I don't really care. But it was like a status thing, like, So we'd be like, Gonzo, get over here! And he would know. He knew right away just by the tone. He's like, gosh dang it, I don't want to do this.
Not again.
Not again. Everywhere we went. Well, one time when we were actually there at 29 Palms, first or second time, I can't remember. Well, our second 29 Palms, it's like we couldn't go, but we went to, like, Camp Lejeune on the East Coast, and we tried to run, like, a 29 Palms package with somebody else. It was weird. But we met some trackers, or tracks or amphib vehicles, trackers, and they wanted to know who, so they compared, and they had some dude called, like, not Zelda, but, like, who was the first bad guy in Dragon Ball Z?
Vegeta?
No, Frieza. Vegeta was like the arch rival to Goku.
Yeah.
Frieza was like
Frieza?
the weird alien purple thing that they had to fight.
I think actually Piccolo might have been the first bad
guy. But they became. Super villain. I think it was Frieza. So this dude's
Frieza.
The only reason I remember is this dude's last name was literally Frieza.
Okay.
I was like, that's not even. I was like, I don't even know if that's, like, culturally, like, even your culture or heritage. Like, I don't even know how that lines up. He was like South American, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just that ignorant. But I was like, Frieza. I was like, that's Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, they went behind a track, and we thought we had it in the bag, because usually we're like, man, we're the attachments, and we're coming in with the biggest swinging dong. We're good to go. I mean, not that we performed. We operated really well. Also, and we usually won this. All of a sudden, we come back. And as soon as they walk back around the track, Gonzo's just shaking his head, eyes wide, like, oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, what just happened? And he's like, bro, he's shorter than I am. He's like, dude, that man puts me to shame. He's like, but it's not good looking at all. And honestly, he's going to have to get some big chicks, because, I mean, he's like, my girl don't even like me sometimes, but man, I can't get that image out of my head. We're just like, we died laughing. And this guy, he eventually got out. It was his time. I think he went over the National Guard or something. But I remember his last weekend with us. He just did not. He was checked out. Bags were packed. He was just done with the unit pretty much. He got on it. We're like, Gonzo, how do you want to send off? He got on the table, freaking drop trowel, helicoptered that thing right. And I was just like, oh, I'm never gonna unsee this. Thanks, bub. But he was like, this is how you. He just said something ignorant. But like literally after he got down off the table, like one of our staff NCOs or first sergeants like walked in the room and we're like, oh boy, oh gosh. And we were dying laughing. So like, Gonzo, man, you're a solid dude. I've tried to reach out a couple times, but like, those are good times, man. 29 palms and then some breaching stuff afterwards. Like, you know, we worked well as a team, man. You were awesome. I was always happy to be your teammate for sure.
So, last story I want to tell, kind of more of a couple little quick stories to kind of just explain a certain person. And it's weird how it worked out too that we plan on doing this, and all of a sudden this morning had a little Facebook conversation, a bunch of us all commenting together, all on the same person.
Dude, universe speaks, man.
So,
it knows.
And I'm going to be sending you a link to this directly. Hopefully you listen to this, Sergeant, but man just retired, so congratulations. And man just had like his 15th kid, not literally, but the dude's like got
no pull-out game. Hey, bud,
no.
There's technique in that too. Just saying.
But I want to say that man I have the utmost respect for. Like I said in the first podcast that we talked, I brought him up with the rocks and everything, and
that's classic. I loved it.
You know, I just wanted like a couple funny things with him. Like we were talking how I try to remember exactly what it said, but it doesn't really matter exactly quote what people were saying earlier today, but how like some of the guys brought up how like they always remember our squad getting their asses smoked. Mm-hmm. And we'd be outside in the snow, low crawling, Iron Miking in a blizzard. Yeah. Freaking, one time we went out on it was a short ruck, like maybe like 2 out, 2 back, nothing crazy. Yeah. But it was cold as balls, and it was super, I mean, like, I'm talking like 2.5, 3 feet of snow on the ground. Yeah. And when we got out, we started turning around. We stayed in line, you know. We got out, started turning around, and I just remember we all called him Tingerina or something like that. I really can't remember how to say his name anymore. It's been so long. But anyways, those of you that remember will remember, especially probably Tinny. You probably remember this crap, but we go to turn around, and he decides to start freaking sack tapping everybody.
Yes.
And Sergeant saw this and got pissed. So when we got back, we were freaking lunging through 2.5, 3 feet of snow, having to do lunges back and forth through this field. And like, he did these horrible things. I mean, you know, there's days that a lot of us just like would have done anything to just walk up to him and just. But at the same time, I wouldn't have changed any of that for anything, because he wanted to make sure we were squared away and we were ready. Like, and that's something he wrote today, was how he did those things because he cared about us. Yeah. And he definitely did.
It sounded like every time you talk about him, like, it just a really well balanced leader. You know, like one that's going to be tough on you because he's got to be, because especially like, I mean, just Army and Marine Corps, depending on your MOS, like really, I mean, those are more or less like the warfighting branches of the military. And if you don't have those leaders, again, depending on MOS, like just because you're okay. So case in point, like I told you, my favorite drill instructor in boot camp was Staff Sergeant Rubicato at the time. At least his rank, like you look at his ribbon stack and you literally thought he was like recon. Well, I mean, he didn't have the dive or jump stuff, but like you thought he was just a hardcore dude. Like he had been deployed like a lot. Turned to find out, like he was admin, and it wasn't like, you know, oh, he's combat admin, like, oh, he's just boosting papers. Like, no, this dude lived what he said. Like, he to the letter was just as disciplined with anything you asked him to do, and he was just as that hard on you to make you better. and that's how a lot of like my leaders that I still respect now, like, you know, as a boot, you know, I had at the time Lance Corporal Dornbush that became corporal, and now he's a sergeant. Now he's with another unit. He was super hot on me, kind of like, he was kind of an asshole, you know, to a degree, but he was also just like, he just wanted good dudes. And then I had freaking Corporal Corey, and then Sergeant Thomas, and all these people from my first unit, and then I had NCOs that I served alongside in my new unit, and the ones that stood out are always the ones that, like, they're going to push discipline, but they're also, like, once that's set and they understand who you are, they're still going to push it, but you're going to realize, like, they've got your back 110%. Like, there's not anything you wouldn't do for this person.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great true in the civilian world. Just to kind of tone it back from, I mean, there's still more I could probably go on, especially anyone in Bravo Company. Pure Point and Pinheiro, Double Trouble. Again, we'll post this to YouTube. If you guys see this, post those stories below, because I've got a ton from them. But, you know, anyway, this is going back. It's like, this is true in the civilian world. Like, even as a leader, like, you don't have to have the military side, but no matter what you do, you need to be willing to be the best at it and be the most disciplined, because what we're seeing a lot in the world today, and I heard it on another podcast, and it echoes so much of what I already knew and seeing, is mediocrity is becoming just so easily accepted. Like, just to do the bare minimum, or to just level out in whatever you're doing. Like, well, why would I do more?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Maybe to, like, get noticed, maybe to get the bonus, maybe to get a newer job, maybe to, like, work so much in this job that another company sees it, or sees, like, your track record, and maybe offers you more, or a better situation for yourself or your family. Like, the only way, at least with our current climate within the U.S. and the way we're set up, like, the only way you're really going to see success is you're going to have to work for it. And nowadays, like, those that work hard and those that sacrifice what they need to have success without sacrificing their morals or ethics to do so, you're going to see the return. Like, I you know, no matter, you know, it kind of depends on the timing of that, like whether it's soon or whether it's later. Like, you know, a lot of us that started small endeavors now, you know, during COVID, you know, some of us are barely now around this time kind of finally seeing an uptick start to happen again. Like, for me, I've expended all reserves I've had to survive this time right now. You know, and I'm not saying that to, like, get a pity party, but I'm saying, like, don't give up just because things get a little hard. Like, trials happen in life, but it's the way you approach those that is going to really show your character and your ethics to get better and to push through and to persevere, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, anyway, that's all I've got. We're doing pretty good, wrapping up just under an hour. Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe on this. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking with us. Write us comments, hit us up, you know, DM us. And if you're listening or watching this through YouTube, or if you're listening it through another source, jump over to the YouTube page. That comment section is completely open. In fact, we would love to hear your stories, your funny stories. Like, please, man. And you know what? I don't even care if there's some Tommy Toppers up there. If you see someone post and you're like, well, I'm gonna one up you, I was like, go for it, dude. Like, half the military is all like, oh yeah, well, this happened to me, or there I was, you know, like, you know, whatever, dude. Like, I know what you're doing now. But anyway, thank you again. We love you all. Keep your heads up. You know, keep your powder dry. Maybe that's how we can end this. Like, keep your powder dry, folks. It's coming. But just be good dudes, good dudettes. All right. So, you got anything for any closing?
Just like I said, you know, try to like or subscribe, leave some comments, hit us up on Instagram, at KevinGlenn89. You're at PH. What is it?
I'm at Phoenix Fit or Never Back Down, MVR, BCDN, you know, either way, personal pages. I'll attach them probably in some links finally. Stop being lazy, probably do what everybody else does. But, get in here. Hey, everybody, you're on a selfie. Anyway, peace out. Keep your powder dry.
Take care.